Most women who are tired all the time will push through until they can't anymore. And then they turn to coffee all day, energy drinks, maybe sugary snacks, anything to get them to have a little bit of energy until finally those things stop working. So eventually these women will reach out for help. And when they do, they're usually told the same exact thing. They need to eat cleaner. They need to work out harder. They need to cut calories more. They need to take another supplement, join this gym, join this workout program. Well, today I'm here to pose the question, what if your fatigue isn't about food or fitness at all? I'm going to introduce you to the very first test I believe every tired woman needs before she starts another program, takes another pill, joins another gym. The answer to her fatigue might be hiding in plain sight in her data that's found in this test. You work out, you eat healthy, but you're still tired and frustrated, and nothing seems to work anymore. Well, welcome to Data, Dumbbells, and Dinner, where we use your body's own data to explain why, and then give you workouts and nutrition to finally feel energized, confident, and fit again. First, the disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I am not licensed in any sort of medical areas. I do not look at blood work for diagnosis. I look at blood work for information on where your body is unhealthy and how we can get it healthy. Your doctors will use lab ranges that include both healthy and not healthy people, whereas I use ranges when I look at your blood work for educational informational purposes that are called functional ranges. These include only healthy people. Now, I did not develop these ranges. They were actually developed in the world of functional medicine or foundational medicine by Dr. Dotsie Karazian years ago. We are not diagnosing anything. We are not giving any medical advice. This is simply for educational and informational purposes only. The first blood test I think every exhausted woman should get, the CBC with differential. The CBC is one of the most common run blood work panels you can get. Just about every time you go in and have blood work, your doctor's going to order a CBC because there's so much information in there. Now, there's a lot of things that are on your CBC. So when you grab your CBC and you sit down with this podcast, or you take my masterclass, or you watch one of my YouTube videos, we're going to go through a whole bunch of things on your CBC. But because this is a short podcast, we're going to pick the top 2 golden nuggets where we can find hidden clues about what might be going on that's making you so extremely tired. Now, it's not the end all be all. Again, these are just the top 2. We dive into everything else in our masterclass and YouTube videos. So let's talk about your symptom of fatigue. When someone says, I am so tired all the time, what does that mean? My answer? I have no clue, because without data, we're guessing. It could be you're low in iron, you're low in B vitamins, you're low in D, you have some sort of a low-grade chronic infection. It could be your thyroid, it could be adrenal dysfunction, it could be low magnesium, it could be autoimmune. I have no idea. Without labs, we're just guessing, and guessing is going to keep you stuck, wasting time, money, energy on things that may or may not work, kind of like a needle in a haystack there. What is actually going to work for you? Meanwhile, while you're trying to figure it all out without the data, you're feeling worse and worse and worse. So your tiredness, your fatigue, it's not you being lazy. It's not lack of self-discipline. It's literally your biology screaming for help. The 2 things we're going to walk through are going to be your white blood cell count and your red blood cell count. They are found on your CBC. Let's dive into the white blood cell count first. This is like a pot of gold for me. Why? Oftentimes in our society, especially here in America, I find that women who are fatigued, chronically fatigued, have some sort of low-grade chronic infection. It might be viral, bacterial, parasitic, fungal, but it's just lying undetected, not high enough for the doctors to go, whoa, you have a problem in a disease or a diagnosis, but enough to where your immune system is working 24/7, 365, and you just flatline exhaust because all your energy is going to try to ward off these chronic low-grade infections. So when this happens, and then you have like a hardcore killer workout program like I did, if you haven't listened to episode 1, go back and listen to episode 1 because that's what happened to me. then it can literally be a domino effect of things that go wrong when you add that stress of workouts or extreme dieting that go wrong, and more systems in your body just start to kind of dysfunction and knocks them down like dominoes. So when we're looking at that white blood cell count, typically doctors' ranges are massive and lab ranges are massive too. But most of the time, doctors really won't pay attention unless that number is 20 or above. Then they're like, whoa, hold on, we've got a diagnosis, we've got a problem. But that number includes both healthy and unhealthy people. And I want for all of my clients, myself, my community to be in the optimally healthy category. So we're going to use the functional range. Now, the functional range for your white blood cell count is going to be 5 to 8. That's kind of the ideal sweet spot for our white blood cell count. Everything's running smoothly, things are looking good. Now, is that the end all be all? No. We deep dive into that in the masterclass that's happening in October. But for now, we want to look at just that range, 5 to 8. Any higher, any lower means we need to investigate and see what's happening in your immune system. That's the number that's the white blood cell count. That's the number that's going to be on all CBCs. The differential will then have things like neutrophils, lymphocytes, monocytes, eosinophils, basophils. If you don't see that on your blood work, then you don't have the differential part. Again, not diving into the differential, we save that for the masterclass. Now, any higher than 8, any lower than 5, you need to investigate. I would not start your hardcore workout program if that number is on your lab work. Why? Because we need to see where you're unhealthy, what's happening. Is there a low-grade chronic infection that's causing you to have extreme fatigue, inflammation, brain fog, and affecting other systems? Like it could possibly affect your blood sugar, your hormonal system, your brain, your gut, all those things. Huge. The white blood cell count, along with the differential, is literally like finding a pot of gold. So if you find that your white blood cell counts are out of range, I would ask the doctor for a vitamin D panel. Okay, a vitamin D panel is necessary because, in my opinion, because your immune system is what fights off those infections. And if it's having a hard time fighting off infections, then we definitely need to make sure it has the ingredients that we need to fight them off. And vitamin D is one of the biggest. So to make sure that your immune system is working well, your hormone system is working well, if your number is out of range from 5 to 8, I would want to, if I were in your shoes, have a vitamin D panel to see where that number is at. So that's for the white blood cell count. Now, for the red blood cell count, and again, I wouldn't start any fitness, hardcore nutrition, because if those numbers are out of range, your nutrition needs to focus on getting healthy, on building your immune system, not on calorie deficits, not on quick meals, but on building your immune system. Now, let's talk about your red blood cell count. So your red blood cell count, ideally, we want to see it fall, and this is for females. Men are different. For females, we want to see your range between 3.9 and 4.5. 3.9 to 4.5. If it's not in that range, then it's considered to be out of the functional range, right? Your doctor would be like, oh, it's totally fine. But for the functional range, with those optimally healthy people, we want between 3.9 and 4.5. Grab your blood work, take a peek. If it's low, so if it's lower than 3.9, you may have some issues with iron. Could be low iron storage, low iron transport at the cellular level. If you have low iron, it leads to extreme fatigue, constant fatigue. You don't even have the energy to work out, much less recover. So you're never going to build that athletic body because you can't push hard enough to really do anything for your muscles. And then you really don't get strong in the gym when you push hard. You get strong when you recover hard. And with low iron, you don't have that ability to recover. So low iron, big deal. Now, does low RBC, is that a definite indicator that you have low iron? No, it's not. We're not diagnosing anything. It's a clue, a red flag that we need to look further into what's going on before we start your fitness and nutrition program. Now, if it's higher than that 4.5 range, that's often linked to methylation or B vitamin issues. It's huge for energy. You can eat as much as you want that's healthy, but if your body is not methylating correctly, if your body is low in vitamin Bs, you're going to be tired all the time. You're going to have sleep issues. You're definitely going to have energy issues. You'll have detox system issues, fat loss issues. Vitamin B is huge in our bodies. So if that red blood cell count is high, we would want to look a little bit further into those numbers and say, okay, what's happening? There are other tests we can look at. We can deep dive into more of those numbers, but definitely want to keep an eye on those two things. If either one of these are out of range for the foundational or the functional range, I would highly, highly, highly suggest that we deep dive a little further before creating your fitness or nutrition program. And there's a couple of ways that you can do that. First, it can be hard to picture all of this lab work while you're just listening to me. Plus your CBC with differential, it's jam-packed. It has more data in there like your HGB, your HCT, your MCHC, your neutrophils, lymphocytes, basophils, and more. And so I've actually created a YouTube walkthrough of the entire CBC with differential. It's a little bit longer video. It walks you through the numbers. We talk about if this, then this. So we're looking for all those areas on the entire CBC with differential that show we have unhealthy areas and how do we get them healthy. So grab those labs, get ready to deep dive with me. If you want to watch something now, go to that YouTube link, watch the YouTube video. I'll walk you through those functional ranges, what your numbers mean, how they connect to your energy. Link is in the show notes. The second thing you can do, you can join me for my 3-day virtual masterclass that starts October 2nd. We'll actually do 3 full days of going through lab work, nutrition, heart rate training, all of the big markers that you need in order to ditch your fatigue and get to fit. So here's the truth. If you are a woman over the age of 30, you're chronically exhausted, you're unhappy with how your body looks, how it feels, you don't need to put in more random workouts, stricter diets, cut more calories, take another supplement. You've got to understand what's happening inside your body first, and that's found in your blood work. So that blood work, especially your CBC with differential, should always come before you start programming your fitness, before you start programming your nutrition, before you start programming your supplementation. If not, you could just be adding layers of stress on top of stress, on top of stress, and wondering why you're still so tired. You're getting fatter, you're getting frumpier, you're getting moodier, even though you're doing all the right things. CBC with differential should always be your first step. White blood cell count, red blood cell count. And one more plug for our 3-day Fatigue to Fit Masterclass. It is going to start October 2nd. I'm going to walk you through your CBC with the differential. I'll show you how to know if your body's ready for fitness, for exercise, for nutrition. So to watch the YouTube video on it or to attend the live 3-day masterclass, go to the show notes and I will see you at either the masterclass or in the YouTube video. Until next time, stay strong, stay healthy. Thanks for listening to Data, Dumbbells, and Dinner. If you're tired of feeling like nothing works, remember, your body holds the answers. With the right data, workouts, and nutrition, you can finally feel energized, confident, and fit again.